Decision making for XAT. Let's start. Okay, this one is done. Okay, I think we have to start from here. Read the information. Hi, Sachin. Hello, Pragati, Rohit. Read the information, everybody. Okay, Suraj. Can you tell me if this was also covered? This one? I think this was not. Not sure. Okay, just a second then. This one? Mm. This one? Okay, so let's start from here then. Read the information, everybody. I'm sorry for the previous thing. Let me know once you're done reading. Okay, here's the first question. See. Okay. So, which of the following actions would adversely affect both NPP and Mr. Loyal the most? Take no action against Mr. Loyal, that would not affect Mr. Loyal at least. Suspend Mr. Prodigal from the party with immediate effect, that would affect Mr. Loyal but not NPP. Expel Mr. Loyal from the party with immediate effect? Yes, that would affect both Mr. Loyal and NPP because Mr. Loyal's political career will be at stake, and NPP will be affected because Mr. Loyal have a lot of followers, and expelling Mr. Loyal from the party would might lead to a split in the party. Okay, ban Mr. Loyal from entering premises till completion of court proceedings. That would not adversely affect both of them. That would affect but not adversely as option C. Initiate an internal inquiry to find the truth? No. So yes, the answer is option C. Okay, Harshvardhan, is it clear why not D? Because C is a more adverse. C would have a more adverse effect than D. Therefore, C and not D. Next. D. Okay, what about others? Okay, so let's see. Question 2. At the disciplinary committee meeting, members came up with the following suggestions. Which of the following suggestion would harm the party the least? Maintain status quo? No, doing nothing will not harm the party the least, because it is mentioned in the passage that the image of the party is getting spoiled because of Mr. Prodigal getting arrested. Expel Mr. Prodigal from the party with immediate effect to maintain party's clean image? No, that would indirectly affect the party because Mr. Loyal would not like it, and so does the followers of Mr. Loyal. Initiate an internal inquiry to find the truth. Um, so that's not an action, that is just a plan, right? And whenever they ask you about an action, you can't answer in terms of a plan. You have to understand the difference, that you cannot answer such options in these cases. Next, um, suspend both Mr. Loyal and Mr. Prodigal from the party with immediate effect. That would adversely, very adversely affect like both the parties and the NPP. So if you see option D, suspend Mr. Prodigal from the party with immediate effect, but announce that he will be taken back if the court declares him innocent. So that can harm the party the least, because they have also said that Mr. Prodigal will be taken back if the court declares him innocent. So that is the most safe way for the party. Answer is option D. Correct. Next question. Okay. Mr. Opportunist, a veteran member of NPP, stakes his claims to be nominated as an NPP candidate in the upcoming election. Mr. Opportunist presented the following arguments in favor of his candidature to the NPP's executive committee. Mr. Loyal's candidature in the upcoming election will adversely impact NPP's chances, hence, the party should not nominate him. Okay. Which of the following combinations would best strengthen the claim of Mr. Opportunist? So people have said A and B. Two options I've got. Okay. 2. The party should call a press conference to disown Mr. Loyal. That would enhance the party's image. So here, in the second point, Mr. Opportunist is talking out of context. He is not talking about the election and candidature. So 2 is definitely not a part of the answer. Next, the party would not be able to take any strong disciplinary action against Mr. Loyal if he gets re-elected. Okay. So here again he's talking about Mr. Loyal, and though he's talking about the election, but like not why Mr. Opportunist should be nominated, that is nowhere in option 3. Okay. Next, number 4, I have a lot of goodwill and significant followers in the constituency. So finally, Mr. Opportunist is talking about himself, and this point necessarily have to be a part of the answer. Okay. So Mr. Opportunist wants to get himself nominated, and if he does not talk anything about himself, it's difficult. So fourth point definitely have to be there in the answer, which means the answer is either B or E. A definitely not. How did you get A? I'm not understanding. Okay, last one is none of my relatives into active politics. Again, this does not make any sense here. So the correct answer is option B, 1 and 4. In 1, he tells why Mr. Loyal should not be nominated. And in 4, he says why Mr. Opportunist should be nominated. So those who have answered B correct. A, is it clear now? Next, question 4. Okay, so hi Tony. Okay, so you have answered as C, E, A. Okay, I've got all different answers. Number 4, the disciplinary committee has decided to suspend Mr. Loyal from the party because they felt he was influencing the judicial process. However, Mr. Loyal feels that the committee is biased and is being framed. Now, election has been announced. The last time Mr. Loyal had won the majority with a majority on account of his good work. Which of the following options is most likely to resurrect Mr. Loyal's immediate political career? So option A says the main opposition party has invited Mr. Loyal. The main opposition party has invited Mr. Loyal to join the party and contest the election. Chances of winning is high. So if he joins the opposition party and if he like gets elected, like just the chances of winning high. So he might immediately be able to get back his political career. He might immediately be able to resurrect his political career. Okay. Next, so that's a good point. Next, let us see if there is something better or not. So B, not participating in the campaign and instructing his followers to stay away from the campaigning process. So that in no way would get back his political career. C, ask his followers to support NPP nominated candidate and display his loyalty to NPP. Again, that would not help him resurrect his political career. D, Mr. Loyal should contest as an independent candidate, but because of split in votes, his chances of winning would be low. So D is also a good option, but then there the chances is low, and in A it's high. So to resurrect his immediate political career, he might better go with A. E, influence the nomination process through his followers. This will not help him. So the correct answer is A. Okay. Sam's, is it clear? Tony, it's A. And why are everybody not answering? I don't understand. Please answer, everybody. Read the information. Let me know once you're done reading. Mm, no, see, you don't have to think about ethically wrong in this case, because the question was that we needed some information to um, immediately resurrect Mr. Loyal's political career. So you needed to provide the solution to exactly that part. Okay, something that would immediately resurrect his political career. Um, about the ethical thing, he was already suspended from the party, right? What is given? The party had decided to suspend Mr. Loyal because they felt he was influencing the judicial process. So even though the party was not sure, they just suspected, they just felt that he was influencing the judicial process, because of which he was suspended from the party. Mr. Loyal feels that the committee is biased and he is being framed. So since now he have been removed from that party and he have to maintain his political career somehow, so that's the best option. If the party is inviting him to join, then he should join, and also the chances of winning is high. Yeah, sometimes I told you this before also, sometimes it's not about the correct answer, it's about the best answer out of the given options. So you need to not forget that. Okay, so here's the first question. Okay, we have got the answers as E and D. Initially, the mail distracted Dipanshu, but he decided to focus on the job. Mr. Patel, why was it? Okay, why did he decide to keep working? A. Mr. Patel would soon be transferred to another department. No. Last week, Mr. Dipanshu has been assigned a new team in the same project. So the first and second point will not like it. The mail says clearly that he has 3 months and it will and his performance will be evaluated, right? So changing teams or Mr. Patel being transferred does not change the conditions. C, 3 days back, Mr. Dipanshu has been assigned same thing, same explanation like A and B. D, his friend has been hospitalized for last 3 months. So what does that have to do with the job, with his job? Nothing. How can you mark D? Sam's, what are you thinking? How can you mark D? Like that's the worst option somebody can choose out of all. So the answer is E. Failing to perform in the client meeting might further complicate things for him. So he have the performance pressure and therefore he decided to focus on his job. Next. Yes, that is only the question. Why is he behaving the same after warning? That is only the question. Initially he got distracted, but then he decided to focus on the job because it is mentioned that he immediately had a presentation to attend to. That's why he was early in the office. So, but how is the answer D? He was behaving the same after the warning because he had to focus on the job. If he fails to do well in the meeting, then it might further complicate things for him. Okay, next question. Okay. Others. Okay, the scheduled presentation went off smoothly. Back in his cabin, Dipanshu read Mr. Patel's email once more and pondered over it. During the last meeting, he tried to put forward his explanation, but Mr. Patel had not allowed him to speak. Dipanshu was thinking of meeting Mr. Patel once again, but he was not sure that that would help. Incidentally, he had a job offer from a startup with a comparable salary. If Dipanshu was to join a new job, he was to accept the offer within the next 2 weeks. However, he cannot think of a life without the job. Okay, so did you understand the question first? That he had the offer letter, but he had to accept the offer letter within the next 2 weeks, or the other job would have gone, offer would have gone. Okay, so but Mr. Patel have given him 3 months. Okay. Um, Now, here the most important clue that you have is Dipanshu can't imagine a life without a job. So take clue from that, and you will know that the answer is either D or E. Okay, once you reach there, then out of D and E, the better option is E, because it's given in D that he only, like, there is a condition, he only accepts the job if they give a hike or keep prospecting. While in E, he accepts the offer with a request of giving a hike. So therefore E is better. No, why are you guys marking A? Talk to Mr. Patel and highlight the initiatives he has taken, but at the same time start applying for other jobs. No, it's mentioned very clearly that Mr. Patel would, like, he's doubtful whether Mr. Patel would help. And if that has to be the answer, why did they give you the information about the job offer? Think about it. Think about the given information. Why did they even give you the job offer information if it was not supposed to be used? And then the line that he cannot think of a life without a job. So what happens if he is thrown out of this company in 3 months or before that, and he don't have a job at hand? So this deal that he's getting, the new job offer that he have, helps him secure a job. Okay, he will no longer be in a threat of being thrown out of a job. Why A? You tell me why A. I'm not getting, like, how can you mark A? A is the most wrong answer that's there. Talk to Mr. Patel. It's mentioned so clearly that he would not listen. He was doubtful that he would listen. Okay, even if it did, how is talking to Mr. Patel saving his job? And then why they have mentioned those three lines just like that? How do you know? How are you sure that he will get a good job within 3 months? Like, is there any information that says that? You can't assume on your own. You can't think practically here. Like, you don't know what can happen, whether he can get a job or not. You're not, like, there is no information to justify that. Yeah, but then it's mentioned with a comparable salary. Again, you're giving your own inputs. You're When you say that one will always choose a established company rather than a startup, how would you know that? So you are giving your own view there. You are putting your own view, which you do not have to do. You have to stick to the information provided while you answer. If they don't accept the salary hike, he is still accepting the offer because the offer already had a comparable salary. So he could have just request them to give a 10% hike. If not, he is accepting the offer anyways. It's a request. It's not a it's not a condition like in option D. Okay, anyways, next question. Okay, after a couple of weeks, Mr. Patel came to know that Dipanshu's project leader, Mr. John, a very competent senior executive, may have willfully influenced his team members to file a wrong complaint against Dipanshu. Mr. John have done it because Dipanshu had refused to toe John's line. Mr. Patel also came to know that Dipanshu was thinking of quitting this job. He felt regretful about his letter to Dipanshu. He wanted to resolve the complicated situation. He was contemplating following 5 actions in his mind. 1. Talk to Mr. John about Dipanshu and convey him that losing a bright employee would cost the organization dearly. Number 2, catch up with Mr. John during the coffee break and convey that Dipanshu has a very good track record. So out of 1 and 2, 1 is better. Okay, both cannot be the answer because both are talking about talking to Mr. John. Okay, so either 1 or 2 have to be correct, and 1 is better um because Mr. Patel now knows that he is thinking of quitting the job. So 1 makes more sense. Okay, losing a bright employee would cost the organization dearly. So he would want to convey that to Mr. John in absence of Dipanshu. Okay, next. Number 3, the chat with Dipanshu during the coffee break. Number 4, catch up with Dipanshu during coffee break and convey that the organization values him. So out of 3 and 4, again, only one of them have to be correct because both talk about catching up with Dipanshu. Okay, so which is better? Fourth is better so that he can convey this little thing to Dipanshu that the organization values him. And fifth, arrange a meeting between the two and himself to sort out the differences. That definitely have to be the part of the answer. So the correct option we can see is 1, 4 and 5. 1, 4 and 5, that is option D. Okay, I think all of you have got it correct. No, but fourth option is better than 3, right? Yes, is it clear? Okay. Next, read the information. Let me know when you're done. Okay, first question. A. Okay. So Mr. Arbit is enthusiastic about the investment idea and Mr. Boring is a little skeptical. The same phase makes them approach a consultant. The consultant makes some observation. Which of the following observations made by the consultant might reduce Mr. Arbit's enthusiasm for the new investment idea? Okay, so it should be something against the investment idea. A. Investment is warranted only when benefits outweighs cost. So in this case, is benefits outweighing cost? No. How? Because the investment here is of 1 lakh million rupees, and if it is successful, they'll be able to recover it within a year. Only recover it, okay, not make anything extra within a year. And if it and there are also chances that it might not be successful, in which case the investment will be completely lost and it will take them uh, 1 or 2 years to make it up. Okay, so investment is warranted only when benefits outweighs cost, and it is not doing in this case, so A can be the answer. B, technology investment give higher earnings in future, so that is a positive point, we need a negative one. Investment in technology leads to reduction of cost in the long run. No. This is also positive. Technology risk can be controlled, again positive, in favor. Business is all about taking risky decisions. No. So the only option that's there, like opposite to the enthusiasm, something opposite to the investment idea, that is option A. Others are all talking about positive things, like it can be controlled, it's about taking risky decisions, and those things. Next question 2. Okay, so okay, all of you have marked C, but okay, B. Let's see. So, in order to sell the technology to Mr. Arbit and Mr. Boring, Mr. Zanatu is thinking of five possible sales pitches. Which of the following sales pitches would reduce uncertainties the most for Mr. Arbit and Mr. Boring? A. All other competitors are aggressively investing in risky technologies. No, that's not the reason why they should also invest. B. If technology succeeds, the annual earning would grow three times from the next financial years. That they would be able to recover the invested money within a year. Now that is nothing new. That information was already given in the passage, right? And that is with the if. That comes with the if. What are the uncertainties about? It is about that if only, right? So how is that information again reducing uncertainties? C. Preliminary studies indicate that the success rate of the technology is 85%. Now, that would certainly reduce uncertainties because that would mean that risk is only of 15% and that can be taken. If the earnings are going to grow by three times, that risk can be taken. The R&D team of ITS is working to counter any possible downside of the technology. Okay, that is also fine, but C is better because that talks with number. E, business is all about taking risky decisions. No, that definitely does not work here. So the correct answer is option C. Next. Okay, that would be a wise choice to leave the question. Anyways, let's solve it here. Mr. Arvit and Mr. Boring did not invest in new technology, but the technology is a big success. Repentant, they are now estimating the additional amount they would have earned had they invested in the new technology. However, the two owners differed on expected lifespan of the new technology. Mr. Arbit expected the lifespan to be 5 years, whereas Mr. Boring expected it to be 2 years. After the technology gets outdated, the earnings from the business drops back to 50,000 million rupees. What would be the difference between two expected foregone earnings after 5 years of the technology investment if yearly earnings are deposited in the bank at 10% compounded annually? Note, foregone earnings is equal to earning from business with new technology minus earning from business with, sorry, earning from, okay, without new technology. Okay. So what you need to do is take this table. These are the foregone earnings as per Mr. Arvind. It will be there for 5 years, and as per Mr. Boring, it will be there for 2 years. Take the difference between the two. So for first 2 years, you'll get it as 0, and the next 3 years, you'll get it as 1 lakh. On that 1 lakh, you'll have to calculate the interest. So for the third year, for the amount that have come on the third year, you have to take it for 2 years. You have to compound it for 2 years because you need the earnings at the end of 5 years. So 2 years means 1.1 into 1.1. Okay, the money which was there on fourth year will be there for 1 year, so 1.1, and the fifth year will be as it is. So when you calculate this and add it, you get 331000. So the answer is option B. All right. So that's it. We'll end this class here for today. We'll see more problems tomorrow. And if you are interested to take the Unacademy Plus subscription, you can use my code RIYA.YT, RIYA.YT. Okay, so if you are just planning like for these other MBA entrance exams, there are new courses starting for CMAT and MHCET, etc. So you can check those, and you can go for a month's course, or if you're preparing for CAT 2020, you can go for a year-long course which is available to you only at almost 1/5 the traditional coaching price. Okay, so you can think about it. Also the mock tests are included, and you get to watch all the live classes. You have access to all of it. You decide yourself which ones you want to watch. Okay, so the code is RIYA.YT. You can check the subscription. I'll put a link below. Thank you very much, and all the best for your endeavor. We'll end this class here.